Me Crow, and tonight I'll be doing tarot readings live for anybody who shows up who gives a $5 super chat, or if you are a patron, member of Patreon. And if you're not already, there's a link in the description to how to join. If you are a member of that at the $5 level or above, you get a free card pull. If you are a YouTube member, a paid member of any tier, you also get a one card pull as well. And otherwise, I'll be talking about tarot and just talking about different things related to the tarot. And I hope you enjoy. So, one of the things that I like to do before I get started on any of my live streams is to do divination. Now, often what I'll do is a divination using the I Ching, and I'll do like a bibliomancy where I will pull a single card from, sorry, not a single card. Um, I'll open up the I Ching book at a random chapter and I will read whatever hexagram comes up. That's usually what I'll do. But since tonight we're talking about the tarot in particular, I will draw a single card from the tarot deck and I will explain the meaning of it. Okay, so let's see what we get tonight. I'm going to be using the Thoth deck, the Crowley Harris Thoth deck. I see Israel Phoenix is here already. Hey, how's it going? Okay, what do we got tonight for our divination? Five of Wands. Five of Wands. Okay. Actually, this came up again. This came up recently for me when I did a reading. So, Five of Wands. The wands, suit of wands represents the element of fire. And the number five, when that comes up in tarot, at least the way that I like to read the tarot, is that represents the planet Mars. Now, if you know anything about either of those, you know both of them are very intense. So, Mars, the planet Mars, is, well, Mars, what it's named after, is the god of war. And fire represents the fiery emotions such as lust, rage, driving emotion, um, like motivation, driving motivation, like a sense of purpose and passion. And five being the war god, we see here Crowley referred to this card as strife. And in the Golden Dawn, they had a little bit longer of a title for this card, which was Lord of Strife, which I like a little better because if it's uncontrolled, then certainly that level of fiery emotions, passions, along with the god of war, can indicate some chaotic energies. But if you are able to direct it properly, it's very powerful. You can get a lot done if you get this card and you're able to properly channel those energies. Now, if you don't know how to channel those energies, there are a lot of different practices that you can do, including energy. If you do energy work, now some people, one of the most popular ones is Reiki. So if you're interested in Reiki, that is something that you can use, practice it more often, and it'll help develop the channels in your body that allow you to process and channel energy more effectively. Now, I don't do Reiki, but I do other types of energy work. mostly inspired by Taoist internal alchemy. If you are a member of the Novus Ordo Luciferi, and I know some of the people here tonight already, who are already here, you will have encountered a ritual, an energy work rite called the Stoking of the Black Flame. And that is an energy work practice. It's a very fundamental energy work practice for members of the order, and it is inspired by both Taoist internal alchemy energy work as well as Western alchemical processes and concepts. So that is the one that I do. I do that one pretty much every day. I don't necessarily always use the incantations that go along with it, which are written in Enochian, the Enochian language, but I at least do the energy work visualizations and the breath work that goes along with that. And when I feel like it, I'll also include the incantations along with it. And if you are a member of the NOL, then you will have access to not only the ritual script for that energy work practice, but also a recorded walkthrough where I go through and I take my time with it and I explain exactly how to do that. And um, yeah, it can be a very powerful energy work practice, but that is one way that you can exercise those energy channels so that when you do get a big boost of energy, like when something comes along like the Five of Wands or what the Five of Wands represents, then you'll be able to handle it and you'll be able to utilize it to achieve your goals more effectively and efficiently. So, Israel, Phoenix here, I know that your other name is Sariel, and I know that you are eligible for a free card pull. If you want me to do that here on the live channel, then I will do that. Just ask. And ideally, let me know what your question is or what you'd like insight into, and whether you want me to use the Crowley Harris Thoth deck or if you wanted me to use the Hermetic Tarot. These are the two that I'm using tonight. These are the two that I like to use the most. So that's what I'm going to be using. If you really wanted to, I could also do a um, regular playing card deck. I have one here that is a samurai themed one that I got in Japan in Hakone, actually, at Hakone Pass, which was kind of like a checkpoint. It's pretty crazy history to that. Okay, well, let me know what your question is and whether you want me to use playing cards, the Crowley deck, or the Hermetic Tarot. Okay, about your HGA and use the Hermetic Tarot. Excellent. Will do. Let me get that out here for you. All right. This is for Sariel. About your HGA, your Holy Guardian Angel, he wants insights into. Oh, card jumped right out of the deck, so we'll use that one. All right, the card that jumped out of the deck while I was shuffling, it was like, pick me, pick me. Okay, it turned out to be a Major Arcana card, and I'll show it to you here. It is the High Priestess. And the title on the Hermetic Tarot is the priestess of the silver star. Now, if you understand the underlying core symbolism of the tarot, you'll know that any major arcana card has one core symbol behind it. Tarot, and I did a short video on this recently, tarot is like an alphabet of the major symbols of the Western Hermetic, or sorry, Western esoteric tradition. You could say Hermetic too, but um, the Western esoteric tradition. I meant to bring a book up here from my library downstairs, but there's a book by Pappas, I think it is, and it's astrology for Westerners or something like that. Oh, for initiates, astrology for initiates, and I think it's by Pappas, and that's a really good one. But anyways, if you wanted to learn the symbol set or the underlying alphabet of symbols behind the tarot, that's a good one that you can read. Um, Later on, I'll put a link if you wanted to buy it. I'll put a link so you can find that book easy. But there are 23 major symbols behind the tarot, and you have the four elements: earth, air, fire, water. You have the seven planets of classical astrology, and you have the 12 signs of the zodiac. And the major arcana, the 22 cards of the major arcana of a standard deck, have 22 of them. They don't have the earth, but that's included in the minor arcana. And the minor arcana cards are each a combination of two of those major symbols. So the major arcana is one core symbol per card, and the minor arcana is a combination of two symbols. So this is a major arcana, so it has one core symbol behind it, and the high priestess, the card behind that, or sorry, the core symbol behind that is the moon. And that is really actually perfect now that I think of it, because you and I have had some conversations, and Sariel, which is also known as Asariel, um, it's a gateway to the moon, I believe, right? In the book of Enoch, what does it say about that? In the book of Enoch, it teaches the courses of the moon, right? And this is a card that represents the moon. So I would say that that is a confirmation of that being your HGA, or at least a very strong correlation or connection to that. So that's pretty. You couldn't get a more perfect card for that, and I would consider that confirmation of what you already know. So that's pretty wild that that's pretty wild that that came up. And you saw that it just jumped out of the deck. That's pretty wild. You know what? I'm gonna look that up. What does it say about Sariel in the book of Enoch? So Sariel, and there's some different spellings, different variations of it, but it's one of the rebellious watchers, also known as fallen angels, who taught humanity forbidden knowledge. And where is it here? One of the angels that brought Enoch to heaven. Um, it is said that Sariel instructed humanity about the cycles of the moon, imparting knowledge about lunar phases and their implications. Very cool. And it also connected to the word prince, Sar, meaning prince or ruler, which is also interesting because I believe that that is connected to your your family name, isn't it? You have some sort of ancestral connection to that word as well, right? So yeah, um, the High Priestess, which is the Moon card. There is a card called the Moon. Oh, Princess, your mother's maiden name. Um, that's pretty wild. So there is a Moon card in the major arcana, but the core symbol behind it, counterintuitively, is not the Moon. It is Pisces, which is ruled by the Moon. So it does have a connection there, but um, the Sun card is the Sun, but the Moon card is Pisces, and the card called the Moon, I should say, the underlying symbol of the card called the Moon is Pisces. And the card called the High Priestess, the underlying symbol for that is the Moon. So there you go. Um, I'm sure that resonates with you. I can't imagine a more perfect card. So, um, why does the major arcana not have a card for the element of earth? Oh, no problem. You're welcome. It's my pleasure. I love doing tarot. It's something I've been doing for over 30 years now. And I do consider myself a tarot master. I have mastered the tarot to the extent where I have internalized the tarot deck. I understand every single card in the deck internally. I've got my own modifications to the standard model of the tarot as well, where I have created my own unique variant of the tarot, which I also have internalized. And I'll use any physical deck as a proxy for my own internalized deck. So it doesn't matter what is on the deck or on the deck that I'm using. I'm actually using my own internalized deck and using the physical cards of any other deck out there as a physical proxy for that internalized deck. And in my own variant of the tarot, I've actually added three additional cards to the major arcana, and I've changed the sequence of those major arcana cards. So I am working on manifesting a physical copy of my internalized deck, but it's quite the endeavor. You know, there are 78 cards in a standard tarot deck, plus with my three extra cards, that's 81. Plus, you have to draw the card back, so that's 82 images. So that's the back of a card, and in this one, you have that for the Crowley Thoth deck. But I have to do 82 unique paintings, so that's quite the endeavor, you know. So it's going to take a little while. But that being said, even though I do consider myself a tarot master, there's always more to learn. And I continue to learn more about the tarot and I continue to explore and experiment with it. And you'd never learn everything. So you could never fully, completely master the tarot because you'd always have something to learn. But that's what I mean when I say that I'm a tarot master, is that I have internalized the deck fully and I've made my own variant of it, at least internally. And I'm working on building a custom deck for that, which I will make available for people who want to purchase it as well if they resonate with the, the expansion and reorganization that I've done. And I can explain why, but members of the Novus Ordo Luciferi actually have access to a full tarot course, which I believe is about 7 hours worth of recorded video. And you can get access to it if you are interested, if you're not already a member of the NOL. And it It's only $5 a month, $5 American per month to join, and you get access to that 7 hour tarot course, as well as several other courses. There's probably about a dozen now, and we have over 40 hours worth of recorded video lessons that you instantly get access to, in addition to a catalog of written lessons that I've produced for members. So yeah, you get all the written teachings, you get all the written uh, practices, ritual scripts, energy work, mental discipline practices, that sort of thing, and all the video courses. Now, those video courses were taught live initially to members of the NOL, and they were taught live and recorded. And then at the end, then those recordings end up going into the back catalog of recordings that become available to all members. And you get access to all of it right away. You don't have to go through levels, tiered levels, or degrees in order to get access to the next set of level or next set of teachings. You get access to all of it. There is a recommended sequence, and you can get degree recognitions for people who do want that traditional esoteric order experience, but um, it's not mandatory, and it's not how you unlock additional teachings. You get access to all of it and you can do it in your own sequence, but there's a lot of material. There's a lot of material that you get access to. Like I said, there's over 40 hours of recorded video alone, not to mention the written material. And it can be overwhelming for people who come in to get access to all of that all at once. And so you have a degree system that gives you a recommended um, sequence, a logical sequence of what you can learn first, and in what order you can learn that in, so that you can kind of go through the material in a more logical order. Yeah, a custom deck is a massive undertaking. Um, it can take a lot of time. It can take years. But yeah, if you are interested in learning the tarot, that, like I said, there's a 7 hour video course that you can take if you join the Patreon at the $5 tier or above, and you get unlimited access to all of that material for that month. And if you continue uh, to be a member, then you continue to get access to those courses. And when a new course is taught, you can be part of that live class if you are a member. And there's new courses being taught all the time. And so, as a member, you can be part of that live class, and it'll be recorded. But if you miss it, then, like I said, it gets recorded. So it gets added into the back catalog of courses that are available to members. And it's only $5 uh, American a month. So I wanted to make it accessible. As a Luciferian, I consider myself a Luciferian. I'm wearing a Luciferian pendant tonight. This was actually gifted to me by Michael W. Ford. He's one of the most prolific authors on Luciferianism today and ever, really. He gave this to me as a gift. I produced um, several conferences, actually international left-hand path conferences. The last bunch of them were branded as Flambeau Noir, which means black torch. And Michael um, has given lectures at I think three of the events that I've produced. And also, Michael and I had collaborated on the Greater Church of Lucifer and Assembly of Light Bearers. We are both equal co-presidents of that organization, and it has two names because we changed the name at one point along the way. But yeah, we are equal co-presidents of that um, group, but it has become inactive at this point. It's not an active group, but he's doing his own thing. I'm doing this, but yeah, we're still friends. But we're just not doing that project anymore. But yeah, he gave me this. It's an enameled symbol. Oh, me said, Michael's how I found you. Very cool. Yeah. But yeah, he gave me this, and so I had been looking for it for a while, and I was like, "Where is that pendant that Michael gave me?" So I want to wear it in my videos sometimes, and I actually found it recently while I was going through some things, and I was like, "Yes, I really like this thing." So I was happy to find that. So what else can I tell you about the tarot? One of the things that I could tell you is that if you have a regular playing card deck, if you know how to read tarot, but you don't have a tarot deck handy, most of the time there's often a deck of playing cards that you can find handy, or you can even buy one at at a dollar store for like a buck, or a convenience store for like $5 or something. You can buy, or even like $3 or something like that. You can buy a regular standard deck of poker cards or bridge cards, and they have 52 cards plus one or more jokers. And if you know how to read tarot, then you can use a regular playing card deck to do cartomancy divinations. If you just know a few simple rules on how to convert. So essentially, a regular playing card deck is like a minor arcana of the tarot, but it's missing one court card for each suit. So it's missing four cards. Now, a minor arcana in a tarot has 56 cards, and in a regular playing card deck, you have 52. So those four missing cards, it's the fourth court card. So it's like the page or the princess sometimes. Depending on which deck, they don't always have the same titles for the different court cards. But it's just missing one of those court cards. But otherwise, you can use a regular playing card deck to do divination. And if you wanted to, you can leave one of the jokers in, and that can act as like a generic major arcana if you want, or you can use it as the fool card. And so you go like you play like you do it regularly. You do a regular shuffle, and you can lay out your cards. And the rules to convert are: the jack is a knight, and the king and the queen are the same. The ace and 2 to 10, they're all the same. Now the suits are different. The suit of hearts is equivalent to the suit of cups in the tarot. The suit of diamonds, like this jack of diamonds, this would be like the knight of coins, diamonds, coins. That's the easy way to remember. Hearts is the way to remember that as cups, is because cups and hearts both represent the element of water, and that is like emotions. And so you can think heart as like love, emotion, right? And cup, you can think of your heart overflowing, my cup overfloweth kind of thing. And that can help you remember that the cup and the heart are equivalent, and they both represent the element of water. Now, with diamonds, diamond is a precious jewel, right? And it's found underground, right? You mine it out of the ground, and coins is also something valuable, right? Coins are also monetary, financial, kind of valuable thing. And in some decks, it's called a pentacle or um, discs. And coins, pentacles, discs are all equivalent to the diamond. And in both cases, it represents the element of earth. And you can think of that as like wealth. So that's the easy way to remember that. Diamond, wealth, earth, coins, discs, pentacles, that sort of thing. And the another suit that you'll find in a regular playing card deck is, of course, the spades. And I'll show you one here. That's the eight of spades. And spades is equivalent to swords. And you can think of the way to remember that is that a sword and a spade are very similar. Um, there's a handle, and then there's a piece of metal that goes up like that and comes to a point. And that represents the element of air. So you can think of it almost like an arrow or like an arrowhead, right? That flies through the air. And a sword, I don't know. You could think of the sword as being thrown or something. I don't know. But the sword and the spade are equivalent, and they both represent the element of air. And finally, you have the suit of clubs. And just think, what is a club, right? Um, a club is a piece of wood that you can club something with, right? um, and it is a long piece of wood, right? It's equivalent to rods or staves. It's which is also a long stick, right? It's basically a stick, a wooden stick. So a club is a stick. A wand is a stick. A rod or a staff is a stick, and all of those are um, representing the element of fire. And so we saw that earlier with the five of wands, right? Wands is fire, and so is clubs. So the five of clubs would be equivalent to the five of wands in the tarot. So that's how, if you know that wands are fire, or sorry, clubs is fire, spades is air, hearts is water, and diamonds is earth. And that's how you can translate a regular playing card deck into basically a minor arcana of a tarot in your mind, and you can use a regular playing card deck to do a tarot reading. Now, you're not going to have the major arcana cards in there, of course, but you can do a tarot reading without that, or a cartomancy reading, technically. Cartomancy is a generic term, but usually people use it when they talk about playing card divination. Wraith is here. Greetings, Mr. Crow and chat. Welcome. Glad you could make it. And you shared the session. Great. Thank you. I appreciate that. Um, Luyanda said Haze is free. Uh, yeah, Israel mentioned there. Yeah, the stream is free, and you can, of course, you can watch this for free, of course. But readings, I ask for a $5 super chat, or if you want to spend the $5, you can join the Patreon for $5, and not only will you get a card pull tonight live, but you will also get access, a full month of access to um, over 40 hours of recorded lessons in esoteric subjects, including a 7-hour course in the tarot. There is an 8-hour course in lucid dreaming and astral projection. It gets really advanced. It starts off at the very beginning level and gets really advanced. There's an additional workshop just on um, improving your dream recall, and it's just over an hour. And that one goes in depth on sleep hygiene, how to remember your dreams more, and a bunch of different tips on improving your dream recall. We have a course on self hypnosis. We have manifestation magic or money magic. There are several sessions of that. And I brought in a subject matter expert to help me teach that course in particular. And yeah, we have one on the new Luciferian era calendar and how to use that sort of thing. So if you, instead of giving a $5 super chat here, you could join a Patreon, which is in the description of this video. And that $5 will not only get you, like I said, not only get you a card pull tonight, but it will also get you a full month of access to all those courses and the community. You'll get access to a private Discord server, and hopefully, you'll see how much value is in the membership and decide to continue on for more than just 1 month. But actually, after this live stream, I'm going to be doing a private hangout for members of the Novus Ordo Luciferi. And if you want to jump in on that, then join via the Patreon at the $5 tier or above, and you'll be able to unlock the most recent post on the Patreon is locked to members at the $5 tier or above, and it'll have a private meeting link in there. And if you click that, you can join that private meeting after this live stream is over, which I'm gonna end it. I was intending on ending it around 11:30 Eastern time, which is in about 40 minutes from now. And we're going to have a private hangout. We can chat about whatever we feel like. You can turn on your mics, you can turn on your cameras, and we can have a discussion about anything that we'd like. Um, yeah, Israel, are you a member? I didn't think that you were a member of the NOL or the Patreon. Yeah, absolutely. I have read the Kabbalion. Um, it isn't hermetic though. It claims to be hermetic, but it's not. It's not genuine hermetic philosophy. It is actually new thought. It's really interesting, and I find it valuable, but it isn't genuine hermetic thought, which it claims to be. So technically, it is fraudulent, and it wasn't written by three adepts, or I think that's what it's listed as. It's written by one guy, um, and it's not genuine hermetic philosophy, but it is interesting, and I do find it valuable. It is a good book, but yeah, it isn't hermetic. Yeah. So if you Israel Isaac, if you do want to get a tarot card reading tonight, a card pull, then you can either do a $5 super chat, or you can join the Patreon at the $5 tier or above, and the link is in the description. Or another option is you can become a member of there's channel memberships open on this YouTube channel, And if you join at any tier of the channel membership, then I'll do a card pull for you as well. Although I would recommend the option that makes the most sense, you're going to get the most value out of it, is to join the Patreon at the $5 tier, because like I said, that gets you a full month of access to all of those courses, all of the written material, all the practices, and the community, the private Discord server for a full month. So that's the option that I would recommend if you were going to spend the $5. You're going to get the most bang for your buck that way. Yeah, it's the Kabbalion says Hermetic philosophy on its cover, but just because it claims that doesn't mean it is genuine Hermetic. If you actually compared the material in the Kabbalion with the actual Corpus Hermeticum, the material, the original Hermetic texts, the primary sources, you'll see that it's different. It's not. It doesn't conform to the same philosophy of Hermeticism. It's the Kabbalion claims to be Hermetic philosophy, but it isn't. It's different. It's new thought. Like I said, it's still interesting and it's still got some cool concepts in there, and it's valuable. I think it is, but it isn't Hermetic as it claims to be. So we don't have a lot of activity tonight. Let's see, what else can we talk about? The Hermetic Tarot is it's black and white, and I think that the artwork on this is really nice. It's by Jeffrey Dowson, I believe. Yeah, Jeffrey Dowson. Um, the This deck is heavily inspired by the written material about the tarot that was published by the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, and it conforms to the instructions about what a tarot deck should be to that was given to members of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. Now, Crowley, Aleister Crowley, he was a member of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn at one point. Some people even say he was one of the major reasons that the original Golden Dawn broke up or collapsed, the society. But he went on to create his own version of the tarot, and he made some slight modifications, but not too not too not too much. It's pretty close to a standard deck, and some of it was because of the material that was in the Book of the Law, a channeled scripture essentially from that Crowley received from his holy guardian angel Iwas, where there's one line and it was Zadi is not the star, and that refers to the Hermetic, or sorry, the Hebrew letter Zadi, which in a standard 22 major arcana card tarot deck, there was at one point along the evolution of the tarot, it was it became associated with the major arcana cards, the Hebrew alphabet. Now I don't use that in my personal deck. I've added 3 extra cards and I've changed the sequence of the major arcana, and it doesn't conform to the Hebrew alphabet anymore. But in Crowley's deck and in any deck that was inspired by the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, such as the Hermetic Tarot, it does connect with that. Now, normally, the star card, the card in the major arcana called the star, is associated with the Hebrew letter Zadi. But there was a line in that channeled text that Crowley received that Zadi is not the star. So he ended up coming up with this kind of convoluted, to be honest, in my opinion, way of explaining that. And there's a diagram that helps explain it, which is kind of like a loop with a little kind of a twist on the end of it. And I always thought that was kind of too elaborate. And I think that the main reason he did that was because he didn't want to disrupt the sequence too much. He just felt that it needed a small change. And so he made a change, which ended up, like I said, has got a little loop on the end of this, almost creates almost like a figure eight. And it's kind of too much to get into the full meaning of it or the full explanation. But I always thought that he kind of didn't go far enough with it, to be honest. I felt like um, he should have rearranged the whole major arcana, which he wasn't willing to do. But that's part of the reason that I went through, not because I felt like um, there's any authority behind the book of the law that Crowley channeled, but that I just happen to agree with that point. you know, um, it's not. I don't consider it a scripture. I'm not a Thelemite. I'm a Luciferian, specifically a Gnostic Luciferian, and I don't. I have um, practiced Thelema at one point. I was a member of the Ordo Templi Orientis, or OTO, which Crowley ended up joining and quickly became the head of, and he rewrote all the rituals for. And now he might as well have created it, at this point. Because he recreated it from, rewrote all of it. So the OTO is a quasi Masonic order that is a vehicle for teachings that Crowley put forth when he wanted to share his vision of the religion that he founded called Thelema. And so, yeah, I was a member of the OTO for about a year, and I hung around a lot of members and participated in a lot of public events that OTO were official OTO public events and unofficial OTO events as well, public and private. And then at one point, I did end up joining for about a year, but ultimately I ended up deciding that it wasn't for me. And if you want to hear that story, I have a video on my channel called Why I Left the OTO. And it goes into my whole experience with it and why I ultimately decided that I didn't want to participate in it anymore. But I really enjoy the Crowley Harris Thoth deck. It's really nice. The artwork on it is amazing, and it was done by Lady Frida Harris, and she was actually a co-mason, a lady Freemason, basically. And I was a member of a large co-masonic order myself, which at one point was called the American Federation of Human Rights. I think it was probably the second largest co-masonic order after Le Droit Humain was the largest one, and AFHR, or American Federation of Human Rights, was the largest schism that came off of that. They schismed from Le Droit Humain. And now AFHR And they weren't just in the United States. They had expanded beyond just the United States. But most of their lodges, when I was a member, were most of them were in the United States, but they were expanding out beyond that. And they renamed themselves Universal Co-Masonry. But Lady Frida Harris, I believe, was a member of Le Droit Humain, and she did all the images for this tarot deck, the Crowley Harris Thoth deck. And she also did some other artwork. She did the three tracing boards, which are very similar to like a tarot card, but they symbolically represent the symbols and teachings of the three Blue Lodge degrees in Freemasonry. You have Entered Apprentice, Fellow Craft, and Master Mason. And each one of them has this tracing board image, which is very, like I said, is very similar to like a tarot card. One for each of the three degrees. So there's three cards or three tracing boards, they call it. And she made her own versions of those, and they're beautiful as well. She's an amazing artist. Um, and so I really like the Thoth deck. It's a good one. Oh, is that the moon card? Yeah, I mentioned this before. It's on the bottom after a shuffle. I'd mentioned this earlier when I was doing a card pull for Israel Phoenix or Sariel, and I had mentioned that the card called the moon doesn't the core symbol, the single core symbol behind this card is not the moon. It is the zodiac sign of Pisces. So that's kind of funny that that came up at the bottom of the deck. Further confirmation for you, Sariel. Oh, this is an interesting thing. One of the cards that comes with the Crowley deck is just this image card where it's got the unicursal hexagram with a rosette in the center of it. And this has become the symbol of Thelema, the religion that Crowley founded. And it's a cool one. It's actually a hexagram in ritual magic is usually, for the most part, the most common form you have is an upward pointing triangle interlaced with a downward pointing triangle, which is also utilized as the Star of David and is a symbol of the Jewish religion. And this is sort of a different variant of a hexagram, or I mean, it is a different version of the hexagram. It's a version of the hexagram that you can draw without lifting your pen. And it's a really interesting one. It's called the unicursal hexagram. And unicursal means, if correct me if I'm wrong, it means that you can draw um, without lifting your pen, or you can draw it in the air if you're doing ritual magic without having to like awkwardly kind of lift your hand up and then put it, or whatever you're using to draw it with. If you're doing like if you have like a wand or something, um, you don't have to like draw a triangle and then draw another triangle. You can just kind of draw the whole thing. And you can start in the middle or end in the start and end in the middle if you want, or you can start and end on any of the six outer points. So it can be used for planetary magic because of seven planets of classical astrology, and you can utilize the center point as well, rather than just implying it or pointing at it at the end or something like that. It's a little bit more elegant. Some people think it's a little more awkward because you can't do it's not completely counterclockwise or counterclockwise when you're drawing it. But, personal preference, I suppose. Me, me, me says, hello, Mr. Crow. Hello, me, me, me. Thank you for joining us tonight. We're talking about tarot. Tarot is something that I started learning in earnest and seriously when I was 17 years old. And I am 47 now. Um, Early next year, I will be 48, so not too long from now. And I had encountered tarot before that, and I had encountered cartomancy in general with playing cards much earlier than that. Hi, Nikki says, happy almost birthday. Thank you very much. It's a little early for early birthday wishes, but I appreciate it and regardless. Thank you. Yeah, so I had encountered tarot before, and um, in my father's library, I was going through some books, and some of the books that he had in his library were esoteric. And in one of them, it had several images from a tarot of Marseilles, I believe. It was one of the older decks, and the drawings on it weren't as elaborate or as beautiful as the images on the Thoth deck, but they kind of had their own intensity to them. The Tower card in particular, it looked to me as if the people were walking on their hands. You know how you have a couple people that are falling out of the tower that's blasted by the lightning bolt, um, and they're kind of they're falling head first down. But the way that it had been drawn in this early image, the first time I ever encountered the tarot, the tower card in the tarot was in that book. And to me, it looked like they were walking on their hands in a really awkward way. And it made it even more creepy to me. And it had a really big impact on me. And um, I felt really compelling that it was not only creepy, but intense. And to this day, the Tower card ends up being my favorite card. I feel like I have a special relationship to that card. And I actually ended up getting I only have one tattoo, but it is a big one. It took about 12 hours to get done, and it's a full back piece. And it's a stylized version of the Tower card on my back. The only tattoo I've got. I'd like to get some more, but I've got some really ambitious financial goals, and so once I accomplish that, then I'll um, devote some of my money to getting some more tattoos. But yeah, I'm very very focused on those financial goals, and so I can't spend it on something like tattoos at this point. Wraith asked, besides the different styles and creative designs on the decks, wouldn't they still be the same when it comes to relaying a message? Yeah, I think so. Now, the way that some tarot readers do it, the image on the card that they're using in the deck that they're using has a big impact on how they interpret the card and in relation to the question being asked. But for me, because like I had said earlier in the stream, I have my own internalized deck. I've memorized the meaning or the underlying symbolism, I should say, of every card in the deck, all 78 cards, plus the three additional cards that I've added to my own personal internal deck. Um, like I said, in a standard 78 card deck, you have an alphabet of 23 core symbols. And in the major arcana, the 22 cards of the major arcana in a standard deck, uh, each one of those is one core symbol, one of those core symbols. And then any images you see on any particular deck out there is the artist's elaboration of that. And usually they'll use some traditional imagery that um, has typically been found on tarot decks of that particular card, but they don't have to. They could, like for um, the High Priestess, for example, the core underlying symbol is the moon, and so they could do any kind of elaboration on that card um, that represents the moon in some way. Now, usually you'll have an image of a priestess sitting between two pillars holding a scroll because that's a very traditional image associated with that card. But ultimately, it means the moon. And if you understand the symbolism inherent in the Western esoteric tradition, you'll understand what earth, air, fire, water represent. You'll understand what the seven planets of classical astrology represent: the moon, Mercury, Venus, the sun, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. I also include the two outer planets of Uranus and Neptune. Those are two of the extra cards that I've added. Um, and then you have the 12 signs of the zodiac, which, everybody's knows what those are, Aries and um, all the way to Capricorn, or Aquarius to Capricorn, I should say. Um, and in some versions of the zodiac, in particular the sidereal zodiac, rather than the more popular tropical, in the sidereal astrology, you have a 13th sign of the zodiac, which is Ophiuchus. And that's the third card, the third additional card that I have in my deck. So I use 13 signs of the zodiac, 9 planets, and 4 elements. Now, you don't get the fourth element, Earth, in the major arcana. That shows up in the minor arcana. Now, the reason behind that is related to alchemy. In alchemy, you have the three principal elements of water, fire, and air, and they combine to form the fourth element of earth. And you find that in the minor arcana, particularly in the suit of coins, pentacles, discs, or in a regular playing card deck, that would be diamonds. But you don't find Earth in the major arcana because it's not a prime. It's not a. It's not one of the three principal elements. It's a composite element. It's composed of the three principal elements, and that's why it's considered the fourth element, Earth. And in alchemy, if you take Earth, you can reverse engineer it back into its component three principal elements and separate them out, refine each one individually, and then recombine them in the refined form and reconstitute that fourth element of earth. But because of that refinement that's happened, the that new resurrected earth, you could say, is so different in quality to the original earth that it came from that they refer to it as the fifth element or the quintessence. So you actually have five elements. You have the three principal elements of water, fire, and air, and they combine in their natural form to create earth. But through alchemy, you can reverse engineer earth back into the three principal elements, refine each one separately, and then recombine them in the refined form to create the other composite element, the fifth element. And it recombines in such a unity that it forms like a solid unit, um, that's difficult to break apart again. Earth is easy to break down into its three principal elements, but quintessence, once it comes together in the quintessence, it's hard to break apart. It acts as a unified um, thing, the quintessence, the fifth element. That which is what quintessence means. Quint, five, essence, element. So that's what that means. The quintessence is the fifth element. Thank you so much for that super chat, Wraith. $5 for answering the question you asked. I can also give you a quick card pull if you'd like. Just let me know what your question is and whether you want me to do the Thoth deck, the Hermetic Tarot, or playing cards. If you want, that's up to you. I know you said that the $5 super chat was for answering the question you'd asked, and thank you, like in thanks. But I'll also do a card reading for you if you'd like. Just let me know. And we are going to wrap this up in about 10 minutes or so because we are going to have a private hangout for members of the Novus Ordo Luciferi after this live stream is over in about 10 minutes or so at 11:30 Eastern time. Right now it's 11:20. So we have about 10 more minutes to hang out here in the live public chat, the live public live stream here. And if you do want to continue this conversation, you can always join the Patreon. The link is in the description at the $5 tier or above, and that will unlock the most recent post on the Patreon, which has a link to the meeting room that we're going to be using for our private hangout. Now, um, sometimes we do formal lessons for members, and those are recorded, as I had mentioned before. But tonight we're just doing a casual hangout. Wraiths, you didn't want to hold up the show. Just appreciate learning something new. Well, thank you for that, Wraith. I do appreciate that. Some more of my water here. I've got a bit of creatine in there too for my daily creatine. Um, actually, which brings up a subject. If you are interested in health and longevity, I do have a document that is free to download, a PDF. I think it's about 14 pages. I can't remember how many words, but it's about 14 pages. And it's meant to be a guide. It's called Longevity Foundations. And it's meant to be a guide to establishing a healthy lifestyle for initiates. So if you are on an esoteric path of any kind, I feel that this would be of value. It's actually, it would be of value to anyone. And so I made it free for the public. Initially, I had written it for members of the Novus Ordo Luciferi specifically. But when I got done writing it, I felt like it was so valuable that I decided to just to make it public and available for free to anybody who's interested. And so if you do go to the Patreon, um, you can find it's one of the public posts in the on the Patreon, and you don't need to pay to unlock that post. It's just available to the public. And actually, if you want to stay in um, informed on when public live streams like tonight will happen, you can also join the Patreon for free. You don't need to be a paying member of the Patreon. If you become a free follower of the Patreon page, you'll get an email anytime that I'm going to be doing a public live stream like tonight, and so that you don't have to miss it. You can always subscribe to the channel here and click the notification bell to get notified when a live stream is going to be upcoming. But I do find that some people say that they don't always get those notifications. I would do it anyway. I do both. If you really want to make sure you try and catch live streams like this, and we do all sorts of topics here on this channel. And I try and do these live streams as often as I'm able to, and I think I'm going to be able to do it a little bit more often than I had been previously. I'm going to try and do them as every night that I'm able to, or day. Sometimes I'll be able to do them during the day, but if you don't want to miss these live streams, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, and go to the Patreon in the link in the description and become a even just a free follower of the Patreon page, and you'll get email notifications when a live stream is coming up too. So you really won't miss it. And if you want to go further with it, if you want to get access to the private community, to the hangouts like we're going to have here in about 5 minutes or so for members, um, where we can hang out. You can turn your cameras on, your mics on. We can chat about whatever you feel like. We can do more card pulls, um, or we can talk about any other subject. If you have any questions, if you want to troubleshoot something, like if you're trying to work through a certain esoteric practice or occult working and you're having trouble with it, or you're not quite sure how to go about something, you can ask it in there. There is a private Discord server for members that you get access to. Um, yeah, if you really want to take it to the next level, and become a dedicated occultist, then I highly recommend joining the paid tier. It's only $5 a month, and but if you just become a free follower of the Patreon, then you'll still get emails letting you know when there's going to be a public live stream, or if there's any other free posts that, like the Longevity Foundation's document, the PDF, then you'll get access to all those as well. So even if you're not going to become a paid uh, follower of the Patreon, I would definitely even still become a free follower, because there's a lot of value there, even just for free. I like to try and make a lot of stuff as accessible as I can, um, because I try to embody the light bearer archetype in my own unique way. And I don't want to put things behind excessively difficult paywalls, like I'm not charging like hundreds of dollars, or even I'm not even charging like $80 for a course. I'm charging $5 for unlimited access to all of the courses. And yeah, I don't want to, I'm trying not to gatekeep knowledge. I'm trying to make it accessible as I'm able to, while still doing this. This is what I do full time. This is my passion, and this is what I'm doing, and that allows me to do this, to dedicate my life to this. I dedicate my life. I dedicate to my family and to this, to teaching esoteric wisdom to those who are seeking it. And so that's my passion, my family, and the occult. And so, and I, like I said, I try to embody the light bearer archetype in my own unique way. and this is my vocation, my passion. So Israel Phoenix said, I gotta get off before the hangout. I got a Discord admin meeting and another server admin for, but I'll catch the next hangout. Yeah, sure. Absolutely. We have, like I said, we're gonna have them quite often. Um, as often as I'm able to do them, which I'm gonna try and do them every time, every day if I'm able to. So thank you everybody for showing up tonight. Thank you to everybody who participated in the live chat here. Thank you, Wraith, for that super chat. Thanks for the great questions that you asked, all of you. And anybody who is watching this as an archive later, I hope you enjoyed the little bits of knowledge that I peppered throughout the live stream tonight. And if you have any questions or comments, then definitely please leave them in the comment section after, the live chat, of course, was hopping. But if you're watching this as an archive video after the fact, then I'd appreciate hearing what your thoughts are, or if you, like I said, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. And until next time, everyone, stay lucid.